Hey, so what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 56 of the Billy Rickman Show podcast. I'm coming to you from the beautiful Bali, and actually I'm going to show you guys, if you're on YouTube right now, you'll be able to see this, where we are staying, and so I'm going to pan around, and so this is where we are right now, in beautiful Bali, in Canggu, and if I keep following around a little bit more, you'll be able to see this is the villas we're staying at, and it's just like incredible. We're having the best time. And so today I really wanted to talk about my lessons I learned from yesterday in day one of the coaching. And it was so interesting yesterday. So day one for me, as I was planning this event, was always going to be about personal development, because I honestly feel like the more I do coaching, the more I realize like it is seriously the biggest drawback, or the biggest thing holding people back from succeeding is definitely with personal development and mindset. And so today, on day one, which was yesterday, sorry, I really wanted to discuss, I want to go through that with people and figure out what it is, what are those blockages? Because honestly, I could have talked about all the marketing strategies and given all the best sales strategies and all the best business strategies, but it means nothing if the mindset isn't there. It means nothing if they're not willing to implement it or can't get through those blockages or those internal conflicts which cause people to not take action. And so day one yesterday was an interesting day, and literally we were 10 minutes into the first session and there was tears, and it wasn't from one person, it was from multiple people, and then one person was even went off for a little while, and we just thought she went to the bathroom and came back, and turns out she was crying as well. And I'm not obviously going to name and shame, I'm not going to tell people who they were. It was obviously very personal and confidential, but it just really drove home to me how deep-seated these internal conflicts are, and how much people have self-doubt, and how much that self-doubt affects their ability to succeed. And so yesterday we were going through heaps of stuff. So the first session was supposed to be all about business psychology and the mindset, and in fact we just ended up having this big round table and talking for 3 hours about individual people's challenges. And the more I went through it, the more evident it was that this was the main thing stopping people from succeeding. And I thought to myself, if this is a small group in Bali and pretty much every single person has this same self-doubt, imagine how much it affects people on a wider scale. Imagine how much it affects people if I had 200, 400, 1,000 people in front of me. Imagine the stories that would come out then. And so I don't know, yesterday I got asked the question at the end of the day yesterday. I got people to do this really funny exercise, which I've done on a couple of other courses before, where I want them to sing a song, right? So they have to review their notes and sing a song and write a song to a popular tune about what they've learned that day. And I do that for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because it's fun. The second reason is it gives people a chance to review their notes, and they're forced to sort of review their notes from the day. And third thing, it builds confidence, because they then have to step up and perform that exercise in front of the group, and it kind of, some people struggle with it, and so doing that, it steps them outside their comfort zone and helps them to build their confidence. So there's a few reasons why we do it. And then after we did that, the very final thing I asked people to do was to say, what is the thing that, above all else, if you forgot every single thing from today and you just remembered one single thing, what would that one thing be for you? And the answers were varied amongst the group, but then someone asked me the question what is the one thing you've learned today? And the thing I learned from the day was that each person has differences, but there are so many similarities to everybody as well. And what I meant by that was that I just couldn't believe how much, I know I've said this 3 times so far this podcast, I couldn't believe how much psychology affected people from getting through. And even now on day 2, I'm going to do a podcast again tomorrow in a reflection of day 2, but even on day 2 now, we've ramped it up. We've been doing website development and blog development and backlinking and all this really, really cool stuff for their business today. And if I would have said to these people yesterday morning, this is what we're going to be doing, there would have been a freak out. Or if I was doing my normal coaching calls back in Australia on the phone, there would have been a freak out. I can't do that and blah, blah, blah. But because they're here and they're forced to do it, it's interesting that they've actually persisted and got through it. And because they've got through it, obviously that helps with their psychology. Obviously that helps with their mental development. And I've no doubt that by the end of this week, they're going to be so much more confident in themselves. And because of that confidence, I think that is the single biggest factor that's going to help them get amazing results when they get back. I'm going to, for the next 4 days, I'm going to pound them with really, really, some technical strategies and some pretty, complicated strategies and sophisticated strategies. But a lot of them will just be simple strategies that they can implement and start to see results from. But I do believe that the single biggest thing that they will take away from this week is their own confidence that they can do more than they achieve, than they actually think they can. And I just think that people are listening to this podcast, that for me, even on day one, I think at the end of this week, I will look back and go, that is the single biggest thing I learned from this week, is the effects of mindset on a person's ability to succeed, and how much self-doubt there is. And I wrote a blog about this yesterday. If you go to billyrickman.blog, you'll see the blog post I did on this yesterday about self-doubt. And one of the things I spoke about is that, I do these podcasts and I do these YouTube videos and I do Facebook Lives often. I'm often on Instagram Live, and people look at me and go, oh, you must be super confident all the time and it must be easy for you. The truth is it's not. The truth is, before a Facebook Live, I still think to myself, okay, what am I going to talk about? What if people don't show up? There's still that same self-doubt. The only difference between me and them at the moment is that I've had enough practice and I've forced myself to do it so many times that I'm able to shut those voices down really quickly, and I'm able to focus more on what the outcome is rather than what the journey is, or what the actual the job at hand is. And so when I get anxious or I have that self-doubt about what I have to do right now, I just think about the reward from it. I think about what the outcome is, and then I'm able to easily overcome that and silence that voice. But some people can't. Some people have that voice going on for days and days and days. It gets louder and louder and louder. You're not enough. You're not good enough. You're not capable enough. There's people better than you. People are going to see through you. All these self-doubt talk. And what that actually does, the bigger it gets, it just festers and it stops people from taking action. And because they don't take action, their business isn't as successful as it should be. And then it just becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy where people go, see, I told you I was no good. See, I told you I wasn't capable of that. See, I told you I couldn't do that. I was right. And because they say they're right, then it just fuels it even more, and they're just in this vicious cycle. And it was just so evident for me yesterday watching the people who are here sharing this coaching retreat, how that vicious cycle has affected them. And if I can break through that this week, if I can just get through that this week, like I said, I know that those strategies I teach them for business are going to be an added benefit, but their business is going to go that way. It's going to soar just simply and purely and simply because they don't have that self-doubt anymore. They're able to silence that voice. They're able to nip it in the bud really quickly, and they're able to positively reinforce to themselves that they can do it. And even this morning we had this really cool yoga session around the pool, which was really, really nice. So we've got 3 villas, private chef, 3 villas. It's honestly, this place is insane. And so this morning around one of the villas, we had this yoga instructor come out and did some private yoga sessions with us. And part of the yoga was as you're doing some of the exercises, when you inhale, thank your body for everything it does for you. On the exhale, remind yourself that you love yourself. And we hadn't orchestrated that previously, but I just remember listening to it and going, wow, how pertinent, how on point this is right now because of what we had yesterday. And I think a lot of people took away from this morning and from yesterday. And over time, I can see already their confidence is growing. I looked over my shoulder then because they're all up there having their lunch. I can see how much their confidence is growing, and I can see how much every single time I ask them to do something, they grow in confidence a little bit. And every time I push them to do something they thought they couldn't do, they grow in confidence a little bit. And I am so excited by day 6. Day 6 is going to be insane. When we finish this retreat, they're going to be different people. And that is really the thing that excites me so much. And so I guess the message of this podcast today, when you're listening to it, is really to think about yourself and seriously try to understand how much self-doubt is playing a major part in your inability to get to the next level. Whether that next level to you means, you're an employee and you want to open your own business, or whether or not you just opened your own business and now you're scared that you're not going to do well, or whether or not you're currently breaking even and you want to make profit next year, or whether or not you're making $1 million and you want to make $5 million. It doesn't matter everyone's different and everything's real to that individual. So whatever that is that's stopping you from getting to the next level, I would encourage you to listen to this podcast and go, maybe Billy's got a point, not because he thinks that he's got the answer, because I don't. I often look at my experiences and look at what's happening in my own life to come to some sort of conclusions. But listen to my message today and know that this message is from a day of coaching in a group environment in a beautiful location where there's no distractions, and listening to the stories of people and seeing firsthand how much it affects them. And like I said at the very start, if it affects a small group that much, then I have to say that this must be widespread. It must be so widespread. It must be affecting almost every person in any business. And as much time as you focus on learning Facebook, and as much time as you focus on learning Instagram and learning how to sell and learning how to, recruit well, as much time you put on that, I really want you to go, maybe I should be learning books about self-doubt and how to overcome self-doubt, how to positively reinforce messages to yourself, how to overcome negative criticism, and how to do all those things. And if you can manage that, I think that is the key to your success. And so that is my message today. I hope it has resonated with a few of you. I'm sure that it's going to resonate with a lot of you, actually, based on my own experiences with this. And if you love this podcast, then please let me know. All the way in Bali, I'd love to see your comments. I'd love to see you share it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. So go to YouTube and look up Billy Rickman. And if you want to look for my podcast, if you're on YouTube and you want to look for my podcast, just search The Billy Rickman Show on iTunes or on Android, and share, comment, and like on there as well. And as always, when I see those messages, it helps me to know what you guys want more of, so I can produce more content for you. So from Bali, this is Billy Rickman. This is episode number 56, and I will chat to you tomorrow for episode number 57. Have an awesome day, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye-bye.